Good morning, everybody. Romel Santiago here once again. So, today's going to be a bit taboo because this is going to be something that we all know that there's lots of different pathways to therapy, pathways to overcome, to process through depression, anxiety, mental health concerns, even trauma. A lot of those things are cognitive behavioral therapy, motivational interviewing, EMDR, eye movement desensitization, reprocessing. A lot of those things are therapeutic modalities, but there's also a lot of different cultures that have been around for hundreds of years that have had their own experience of navigating through spiritual pathways as well as navigating through some of the sticking points or some of the things that keep us stuck. For example, there are some indigenous populations that have used peyote for hundreds of years in order to help navigate through a spiritual journey. There's other populations that have used ayahuasca in order to navigate through having this spiritual experience and navigate and process through traumas and process through other barriers. Right? Indigenous populations around the world have been using things outside of traditional psychotherapy for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. What we know now is that a lot of those things we have access to, and we have access to actual research that supports how these particular indigenous populations have utilized and how it has helped overcome so many traumas and so many mental health barriers. And I'm not just talking about peyote or ayahuasca, right? There's a lot of research on ketamine and microdosing and marijuana maintenance. Now, for folks that are in a abstinence-based recovery program, this is something that has been a heated conversation for a lot of different programs. But outside of the abstinence-based programs, right? Most of my clients and most folks know that I live in Colombia, and ayahuasca has, because of Netflix, ayahuasca has been a topic that has been coming up more and more. Um, One of the things that I would encourage anybody to do before they explore any kind of indigenous practice or spiritual practice that they are not familiar with is making sure that even with therapy, making sure that where I go, the therapist that I explore, the information that I'm gathering is accurate and it's coming from somebody who understands what this particular substance can do, right? We want to make sure that anything that we put into our body, we're not we're not just going to somebody on the corner and copping a bag and going home and doing this ourselves. Why the research surrounding ayahuasca, peyote, and so many other substances has been proven to be highly effective and highly impactful when it comes to the change process, when it comes to navigating through traumas, mental health diagnosis, etc., is because there's lots of research on the effects. There's lots of research on the process. There's also lots of research on how this particular substance is not just ingested, but how this particular substance works with the body and the brain in order to create situations where we have the opportunity to navigate through some of these sticking points. Ayahuasca, for instance, is a non addictive substance that is ingested, that is a hallucinogen that helps to unlock different parts of the brain to allow the the brain to one process certain information and to gain a better understanding of who we are as a person and how these particular sticking points have historically showed up. Now, um, I'm going to be super transparent. I have explored my own personal journey with ayahuasca, but just because I've explored my own personal journey with ayahuasca doesn't mean that I'm promoting it or suggesting that anybody else has. Right? Before we do anything, we always want to one, check in with our medical professional, right? Two, check in with other peer reviewed um, information that's at our fingertips. And two, make sure that who we are going to is a reputable source, because I live in Colombia, there's lots and lots of shamans and different retreats and organizations that do ayahuasca experiences. But how many of them are reputable? This is for a lot of businesses, this is an opportunity to make a lot of money because this is something that actually works. But without the proper guidance, without the proper tools, without the proper support, we're just setting ourselves up for failure. Or we could be setting ourselves up for an even more traumatic experience, right? So when it comes to exploring your own personal journey, whether it's therapy, whether it's something else, something to keep in mind is where are your values, where are your limitations, and at the end of it, what is it that you want to gain from this particular experience, right? With any kind of um, with any kind of indigenous medicine or spiritual experience, the primary the primary focus, the primary step is what is my intention. That's the same thing when it comes to therapy. What's your goal for coming here? What is the intention? Who are we working towards helping you to become? That is the most important component. And whatever direction you take has to align with who you are as an individual, as a human being. If it does not align with your spiritual practice, with your value system, with your moral compass, then don't do it. However, if you're at a sticking point and you're confused and you're trying to figure out what is the options that are on the table, then this is where a lot of the hard work and dedication comes into, because this is how you then decide how much time am I going to put in to discovering the pathway that's right for me. And so when it comes to choosing your pathway, nobody ever can tell you what your path is. That's something that you're going to have to uncover and discover for yourself. And if you're having trouble uncovering or discovering that, I would highly recommend first seeing a mental health therapist, somebody who can help walk you through identifying or uncovering those particular parts of you that are going to lead you to the journey of your choice. So, I hope you found that to be super helpful and not limiting to some of the um, traditional Western approaches to mental health. Um, but this is your journey, and this is something that you should be more in charge of because at the end of the day, you are the expert in your life, and nobody else can tell you what is going to work for you. They can only share their experience, what has worked for them. So, that being said, I hope you gain something out of this particular experience, and I hope you all have a wonderful, amazing rest of this beautiful day. And I will see you soon.